Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Notre Dame football live show from blueandgold.com. I am your host, Ashton Pollard, and I'm here as always with Mike Singer and Tim Hyde. Everyone, welcome into the Notre Dame football live show.
We got some echo going on. Is that on your end, Ashton, or is that me? Do you have
It's
a?
on my end, I think. And Tim Hyde.
I will
Oh, no.
continue that, Ashton. You probably have a window open with the show. Do you have our website tab open, or you got it? All right, great start to the show. We are scrambling here. We about just 2 minutes ago, I was still putting everything together for this show. So, all right, Ashton, bring it back home. Here we go. Intro us in. I can't hear her anymore. Can you hear her, Tim? So, all right, Ashton, bring it back home.
It's still echoing on my end.
Okay, well, we will let Ashton get that figured out, and we will continue. Ashton, you're just gonna have to. So she'll come back. It's just the Mike and Tim show here for a minute. So
live reboot. There we go.
Hey, this is live television. This is the good stuff. Well, I will intro us in. Notre Dame football show. We're talking tons of recruiting. It's June. There's not much going on with the actual football team unless you get a little tweet here and there from the Fighting Irish account. Ashton's texting me. She says I hate everything. She's having some technical difficulties. Tons of recruiting. So we're going to have a good bit of discussion on that front. So make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you're on YouTube here. Subscribe to our channel if you have not done that yet. If you have not done that yet, we've got a great group subscribed and always watching with us live and watching back on YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up again. If you're listening via podcast, leave us a kind review. Head to blueandgold.com, $1 for 1 year of premium access. So we've got Ashton back. Let's bring her in. How are we doing, Ashton?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think we're good.
Awesome. Sorry, everyone. I'm back. I have no idea what happened. I closed every window on my computer, and it seems to have worked. So here we are. I just missed whatever you just said, though. So do you want me to re-intro?
No,
You guys introed, I
nothing
assume?
important. We are going into this part of the show where we talk about this. So I guess I can just go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Evan Williams Peach whiskey. That's what I'm drinking, and I might text my wife to get me a refill if I burn through this here within the hour. So yeah, I'm actually drinking alcohol for the first time on the show for a while. So
we love to see it. Tim, how about you? What are you drinking?
Well, since Notre Dame got an O-line commit, I'm going to go with little Two Tigers and celebrate tonight. And fingers crossed they get some quarterback down the street from Ann Arbor tomorrow. So
what's the connection with Two Tigers and offensive linemen? Or are you just celebrating because it's a commit?
Celebration.
I didn't know if it was. I didn't know. Is it not called Evan Williams? Someone said Evan Williams. LOL. Is it not? I think it is. I don't know. My wife got it for me.
All right. Well, so I'm going through a phase where I'm trying to get rid of everything in my fridge. So I muddled mint and blueberries into a vodka soda, and it's quite good.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's very good. And I was like, yeah, it has lime and it's all the normal things plus blueberries and mint. So, on that topic and kind of on the topic of what Tim was just saying, we have a very recruiting heavy show for you. We are going to get to CJ Carr, who is the 4-star quarterback out of the Detroit area that is committing tomorrow. Notre Dame is the heavy favorite to land him, but he does have 6 finalists. So we are going to get there. Do not go anywhere. We're going to close it down with that portion of the show. So in the meantime, again, yes, very recruiting heavy, given that there's a lot happening with the team. They are back on campus for a brief period of time, but nothing open to the public and no big formal practices or anything. So leaning on recruiting right now as we get into mid-June. And before we start that, I'll say if you are listening back via podcast, make sure you give us a review. If you are listening live, hit the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I'll also quickly plug that we still have the $1 deal on blueandgold.com going that gives you access to everything we write, including premium content, in addition to the message board and various other things. So we'll go ahead and get started with the segment that we always start with outside of the What Are You Drinking segment, I guess. And that is the best thing you saw this week. So if you are new to this show, we always start with that segment. And basically it's anything related to Notre Dame that you want to talk about, best thing you saw this week. So Tim, I'll go to you first because you seem very excited about what you're about to say.
Well, obviously, for all the longtime Notre Dame followers out there, we don't like Michigan. So that's a given. That's number one rule for Notre Dame fans. You're not supposed to like Michigan. So I've been watching a lot of CJ Carr film, and the algorithm on Mr. YouTube just got rocking. And all of a sudden, all these Michigan podcasts are popping up all over the place. And everyone in Ann Arbor is losing their mind right now. So the best thing I've seen this week is the videos, the commentary from all the Michigan insiders. They're going nuts, and they're not happy that everyone feels CJ Carr is going to commit to, some, their little brothers. I guess they still think from 1908 in South Bend, but they are losing their mind. So for everyone out there, even though you're not a Michigan fan, you don't want to hit the algorithm too much, but find a fun show and you will enjoy it. I guarantee you.
Yeah, can attest to that. I can't say I've been that deep where my computer is spitting that stuff out at me. However, my Twitter feed, which does spit a lot of college football stuff out at me, has signaled that they are not too thrilled with what could happen tomorrow. But again, we will get to that. Mike, what is the best thing that you saw this week?
I'll tell you the worst thing I've seen this week is Michigan fans attacking.
That's not the name of this segment.
Attacking the guy's poor mom. I mean, Tammy Carr, sweetest lady on earth, is getting attacked by Michigan fans. It's ridiculous.
She is.
Chris Basker's watching from Germany. Isn't it like midnight over in Germany? Like, good for you, man, for tuning in. I have two. So I guess I gave you a worst thing I saw, and I'll give you two best things I saw. We don't have a dedicated this just goes to show how busy it is for Notre Dame recruiting right now. We don't even have a dedicated segment to Irish Invasion Camp, do we? No, we don't, right?
We don't. We were just going to kind of touch on it throughout because it kind of infiltrates various things, but yes.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Irish Invasion, that was my first one. I've been covering Notre Dame since May 2019. The June 2019 invasion, I was on vacation. I already had that vacation planned before I got the job. 2020 was COVID, 2021 COVID, and then this one. Actually, last year they had the camp, but it was closed to media. So this is my first one, and it was fantastic. One of the best camps I've ever been to, whether it's a media camp or a college camp. I've been to many college camps, many media camps. This one was the best I've ever been to. It was fantastic. So kudos to Notre Dame and all the talent they got on campus. And the other best thing I saw this past weekend was when I landed in South Bend, Tosh Baker I saw at the airport. And I'm gonna say hi to him. I haven't met Tosh Baker in person. I haven't told you guys. This is I did tell Ashton this.
You told me, yeah.
I'm like, I gotta say hi to him. We're standing next to each other waiting for our Ubers, and I say, hey, this is kind of random. And he looks at me and I go, I had you on my podcast 3 years ago. He's just like, what? That's awesome. What are you talking about? And I told him who I was, and we had a good moment, and then his Uber came. But so that was pretty cool, seeing Tosh Baker and having that moment. And he still follows me on Twitter, so that was cool. I don't remember how that tied into the story, but I think we did have the. But anyways, so Mike, that was pretty cool.
Mike, is his height verified? Is he that tall?
He's a monster. He's not lean. Like, this dude is just a monster of a human being. So yeah, like we got a super chat. I feel like we haven't gotten a super chat in forever. So we'll go ahead and sound this alarm. There it is. Okay. Truman says right away, how good is CJ Carr? Is he as good or better than Dante Moore? So anytime we get a super chat, we stop the show and we go to it. So Tim, give me like 30 seconds of this answer.
Wow. That's so we comparing Dante. So if we're going sophomore films, they're one and the same, I feel. If anything, Carr's probably a little bit more accurate as a sophomore than Dante was. That was, my first take on going for the, looking at those two, because obviously I've watched both of their films. I've watched Dante's whole high school years. So a sophomore film, CJ Carr is as accurate as there is in the country.
So I was asked this question. Actually, I don't think Darren Pritchard even asked me this. I just kind of brought it up, like who's better between the two. If I had to pick one, like I would take CJ because like I think they are equal talents right now. In my opinion, I've seen them both in person. I think Dante 3 times, second for CJ. And if they're the same, you would probably take the guy a grade younger because he's got, typically that means more upside. So that's kind of my take on it. But yeah, you're really splitting hairs. They're fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. We're going to go through the entire what's planned for tomorrow, who his finalists are, tape, all of that at the end of the show. So we'll have more, we'll have more on that. But we can pivot, or I guess I can share the best thing I saw this week. And I'll give a shout out to Bobby O, the comment on the side, Mike, if you don't mind pulling that up, who said the best thing this week is the baseball team ready to beat Tennessee. So mine has to do with that. I know it's not football related, but if you're a Notre Dame fan, you should care about this. So very quick backstory on the Notre Dame baseball team this year. They were consistently a top 15 team, kind of a shoe-in to be a top 16 seed, which means you host a regional. And if you are top 8, you get to also host a super regional. And that was in the discussion. And while they didn't get either one, which I'm not just saying this because I'm a Notre Dame fan, but a lot of people were very unhappy that they were not a national seed. So they went down to Statesboro, Georgia, which is where Georgia Southern is. Georgia Southern was the number 16 overall seed, so they were the last national seed. And not only did Notre Dame win the regional, but they won 3 straight games to win the regional. None of them were blowouts. They were pretty low-scoring games, but still for a team that kind of had a chip on its shoulder after not being chosen, and there's a whole history to that last year as well that I won't go into, but this team went down there, won 3 straight games, and Mike, if you don't mind playing the video, Link Jarrett standing there kind of in the middle of that semicircle. He is doing the Irish jig, which if you're familiar with him, it is not something he normally would do. So he's very, very, very happy. And that made me really happy. And we talked with them earlier today, and we'll have some stuff up on blueandgold.com from Tyler Horka and me from that interview. But he's really excited. They're going down to Knoxville to play the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. I was trying to think of like an analogy. If you're not a college baseball person, they're the Georgia of college baseball this year, but arguably there's an even bigger gap. There's kind of nobody even in their league. They're borderline perfect offensively, defensively, and pitching wise. Yes.
Wasn't it like all of their players were on some USA team?
Yeah.
Or
so all 3 of their starting pitchers, I forget the exact name of the team, but made like a USA national team. And basically like getting 1 on that list is a really big deal. And all 3 of theirs were on that list.
Oh, okay.
So Notre Dame has their work cut out for them, but for now we get to celebrate and watch Link Jarrett do the Irish jig after Notre Dame baseball swept the Georgia Southern or Statesboro Regional, I guess. So, all right. Also, yes, they're on ESPN too tomorrow night at 6 p.m. if you want to watch. I mean, sorry, Friday at 6 p.m.
Now, real quick, Ashton, Notre Dame's strength is pitching, correct? Notre Dame's strength this year is their pitching staff, right?
So,
they're going to need
yes,
it because Tennessee just bombs the baseball, correct?
Yeah, yes, and no. So John Michael Bertrand, who's their ace, he's pretty much lights out whenever you put him on the field. Their bullpen has been pretty strong, but a little shaky at times. There's a lot of bend don't break down in Statesboro, so giving up a fair number of hits, but somehow getting out of the jam. So the commentators will say their bullpen is a strength. If you've watched them all year, it's a little shakier, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Tennessee doesn't really have a weakness, but their strength is certainly their offense. So yeah. All right, so moving into the recruiting portion of this, Notre Dame earned a commitment yesterday from Joe Otting, a 3-star 2023 offensive lineman out of Kansas. Mike, I'll kind of let you go ahead and start because you wrote the commitment articles and know a lot about Joe. So what do you think Notre Dame got in Joe Otting yesterday?
Yeah, I'll touch on the recruiting side of it, and then I want to hear Tim's perspective of him as a player, and then I'll give my rebuttal. Because Tim and I have not talked about Joe Otting. I mean, this came together so quickly that we haven't even had a discussion about it. So it's pretty simple. Notre Dame analyst Dre Brown invited Joe Otting up for a visit last November. Otting visited, had a good time. I want to say it was Navy game or something like that. But at that point, I think Otting had like 3 scholarship offers. So it wasn't, a big player on the radar. But then Otting started to blow up in the spring. Tommy Rees was out recruiting in Kansas and stopped by Otting's high school, saw Otting work out, really liked it, sent some footage over of the workout to Harry Heastand, who then offered Otting that night. Otting camps for Notre Dame this past weekend at the Lineman's Challenge on Saturday, which was closed to the media. It would have been awesome to have that, video of him working out. Clearly he did pretty well because a few days later he committed to Notre Dame, and that's the gist. I mean, he was going to officially visit Kansas State and Iowa. Those visits are off, and he's supposed to be officially visiting Notre Dame next weekend. And yeah, he's all Notre Dame. 6'4", 270 pounds. The rankings aren't great. Number 689 player in the country, number 64 interior offensive lineman, so not great there. On three's own rankings, which is 25% of the consensus ranking, has a number 45 interior offensive lineman nationally. But from what I'm hearing inside on 3 is that he is due for a bump. Like the on 3 scouts and talent evaluators love multi-sport guys, and Otting is a really good basketball player. And Tim, I know you were watching his tape lately, and he's darn good in throwing the shot put, javelin, and discus. And Otting just he's got a little bit of Joe Alt in him. That's kind of what some Notre Dame fans have been saying.
What's it with you and Joe's?
I'm not
Joe
ready
offensive lineman.
I'm not ready to declare him Joe Alt yet. But yeah, Tim. So I'm definitely curious, and we'll pop on his film here for our YouTube audience.
Now that's funny you mentioned Joe Alt, because that was the first thing I did was go back and reread the timeline with Joe, and it sounds like it's literally almost the same thing.
Very similar.
Yeah, exactly, with Otting, Quinn Solemn offered, visit, boom, boom, boom.
No. That was during the dead period, so Quinn couldn't have seen him.
Exactly, the dead period. I'm just everything via Zoom, phone, and things of that nature, yes. But it happened really fast as there, and the same type of thing. Here's a guy who, they get his film, keep evaluating them, things of that nature. You get a new O-line coach comes in, checks out film, and he's probably, especially during spring ball, breaking down the interior, because he's definitely a guard. He's going to be a guard, center guard, with his, height, makeup. He's tailor-made to play the A-gap position right inside. He's explosive as could be, which, you're talking about him getting a bump. Yeah. His film is not the 700th ranked player in the country, whatever it is. He mauls people out there, and it's hard to rank him and to look at him because, Kansas football, they get a handful of guys each and every year and whatnot. But the fact that he's a multi-sport star, I thought of instantly Emil Wagner, who plays all those sports and just won the state in shot put. I know Joe Otting does all those as well, which means he's explosive. You're doing the disc, the javelin, shot put. You got some explosiveness to you. And for everyone out there, if you haven't seen his basketball highlight film, it's like unbelievable. My brother played college basketball. My nephew's going to play Division I basketball. So I always like seeing I got a lot of basketball in the family. And he's a good basketball player. So that bodes well for taking an athletic guy. You're not going to need him for a couple of years. You're just not going to need him because they have, a couple of interior guys, especially at center, with Zeke. If he has, Zeke's got 2 more years if he's going to be the guy this year, and you bring him back for 23. So he could sit for a couple of years and develop, which is good. But he's physical. The one thing you notice about him is he's nasty. And on the basketball court, he's smooth on the basketball. He's draining threes. If you watch any of his basketball highlight film, he's draining threes out there. And He's got some nice post-up moves. He's a really good athletic football player. Now, if he ends as a 3-star, Notre Dame's only had a handful of 3-stars. I went back and researched 20 years. Notre Dame's only signed 11 3-star offensive linemen, which is fascinating over the to O-line U. They've gotten some high-end football players over the years. So he would only be the 11th 3-star if he ends there. So, we'll see. Because where does the 4-star kind of end? Like 450-ish or so?
Yeah, at the end. So as the cycle goes on for the consensus, more 4-stars get added. I think the final number is 450.
Gotcha. So he could easily jump up into that range because he's a good looking athlete. I don't know what he's going to do on the camp circuit. Is he going to see certain people and things of that nature? But he's he'll go out and hit you, and he'll block the living heck out of you. He's got some pop and explosiveness, but that comes from him being a 3-sport star.
Good stuff.
To your point about go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say really quick, let me pull this up. Because this is going back to our basketball discussion. Excuse me, baseball. Let me find this comment. I'm sorry, Austin says this is what I was referencing. All the Tennessee starters made the USA Collegiate National Team. That's crazy. So they must be darn good, that Tennessee baseball team. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, they're very good. Sorry, someone also popped up. Are you guys sending Ashton to Knoxville to cover the series? We will not. Tyler nor myself will be there. We'll be here. There are a couple of camps here, but I will, and Tyler will, be running a thread on our message board that you should come check out. It is only $1. Again, you get access to everything that we do if you just pay $1. And if you're on here, so you probably like football. Seems you also probably like baseball, so you should pay $1 and come hang out on the thread on Friday night. It's going to be great. Kind of got derailed there. Sorry. On the topic of multi-sport athletes, that brings up, and Mike, I know you did the Twitter space with Eli Raridan, the incoming tight end, 2022 tight end, who should be moving in here, I guess, in a couple days. But he basically got his offer because of his basketball film. Not he wouldn't have necessarily not gotten an offer otherwise, but the coaches saw his basketball film and offered him. And Jared Parker, the new tight ends coach, when we talked to him this spring, he obviously came in after Raridan committed. But Parker said the first thing when he was looking through a Raridan film was he was looking at his basketball tape, and he was like, I was absolutely blown away. He gave us a really good quote. Basically, he texted his brother and said, holy crap, look at this kid.
Now say it.
And
you can say shit on here. It's our show.
No. All right, whatever, fine. Holy shit, look at this kid. And I don't really care. And his brother responded with the same thing. So, Eli Raridan, also a basketball star that Notre Dame liked. And obviously there's some, Joe Otting's probably not going to break out to tight end, but obviously there are some offensive linemen that break out to tight end. So kind of similar family, I guess. But is that what we have on Otting? Do y'all have anything else on Otting before we move into another visit that happened this weekend?
I can't believe that you just cursed on air, Ash. I'm very disappointed.
I don't really care. Whatever.
Just kidding.
Jeremy, fine.
I'm kidding. Go ahead, Tim.
No. I was gonna say Ashton just mentioned tight end, which was obviously Mr. Alt's position as well. So let's don't forget about that.
Yeah.
Many tight ends to offensive tackle in Notre Dame's history. But the very first guy I thought about when I watched Otting when he first got offered, first guy popped in my mind, I was Rick Kaczynski, who was a 93 signing, started for a couple of years at the end of the Holtz era at center. He was tight end.
I remember him.
All-American tight end. They moved to center. So how about that transition back in the heyday? So, but first guy, same body frame, 6'4", ended up being in the 290 range, which Otting's going to be. But I like Joe. He's a physical guy, and if you're going to take 5, you always take, you take a flyer on a guy you could develop, you don't need for a couple of years. He's perfect.
Ashton, do you remember what Eli said? Mark asked a question about Eli's ACL. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, it's doing very well. He actually posted a video on Twitter maybe 2 or 3-ish weeks ago, relatively recently, of him like lifting and stuff. So seems to be coming along quite well. So I don't know the exact timeline of ACL healing. It's what, like 5-6 months? So I guess he's on month
now
5.
Yeah, Mike, during our Twitter spaces, he did say he was going to be ready. Yeah, he said he was going to be ready to go in camp, which was just shocking. Yeah. This video of Eli here is just awesome. I mean,
his
that's
ACL looked pretty good right there to me.
How many pounds is that?
I don't know. A lot.
That's like, is that 4?
I have no idea.
445s? 445 plates? I can't do that.
I don't really know.
I don't think those are 45s.
Oh, they're not?
That'd be 400 pounds, but that's
my math.
That's a lot of weight.
My math ain't good.
All right, we will move on to a similar topic. Staying in the offensive line family and staying in the 2023 class, Elijah Paige, I guess he's also a 3-star if he's the number 454, 457, whatever, player in the class. He was on an official visit to Notre Dame this weekend. Also went to Tosh Baker's high school. Speaking of Tosh Baker, Mike, I know you wrote a piece on blueandgold.com about this and how Tosh Baker was his host. So what did Elijah Paige have to say about his time in South Bend this weekend?
Yeah, I told Tosh, what he needed to do to recruit Elijah successfully. I'm just kidding. No.
He's in great hands.
So his visit went great. I don't like the term it couldn't have gone better, because it could have gone better. He could have announced when he's on campus that he was committing to Notre Dame. So it could have gone better. But also it couldn't have gone much better, maybe is the term. Notre Dame wants this guy very bad. I mean, he's a little bit, he's rated higher than Joe Otting. Not by much. I mean, number 457 player, number 32 offensive tackle. This one, I like the Otting ranking. I get it. He's playing football in Kansas. He's 270 pounds, maybe a little bit of projection. The Elijah Paige one, I'll pop on his tape when we go to Tim on what Tim thinks about Paige as a player. But I think he's fantastic. He's a great kid. I like Notre Dame to land him. See, the recruiting prediction machine says, and I know this is the Fighting Irish's favorite thing ever, the recruiting prediction machine. The fans tell me that
they're all here, so they can't hate it that much.
It's very much trending towards the Fighting Irish. Brad
looks like Jack. Amazing. He absolutely kind of does.
I can kind of see it, the hair.
Yeah,
with the squint, with the Elijah squint in that photo is perfect.
So, for YouTube folk, he's got he took an official to UCLA in May, and he's got Michigan State this weekend, USC the 17th, Washington the 24th. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know if he's gonna take those.
Fair enough.
I don't know if he's gonna take them.
We'll switch to the film on that topic. Tim, I assume you've watched, while Mike pulls up, I assume you've watched him before. Kind of what do you think from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, he was one of the, when Coach Heastan got hired, he offered Elijah very, very early on. And I remember texting Mike, how the heck is this guy ranked 450 some odd player, whatever? I mean, cut his ranking in half. That's where he deserves to be. He's definitely a bona fide 250. He's a top half offensive tackle in the country. There's no way there's 31 guys better than him. He is a good football player. Look at his offer list. He's another one of these guys that kind of blew up after his junior season with the offers. His athleticism is unbelievable. I mean, seriously, he is a darn good football player. He's perfect because Notre Dame, as we'll talk here about moving forward, they need some offensive tackles. He is an offensive tackle to the T. And I know Mike reported in one of his articles, he's 6'6", 300 pounds. So he's gotten bigger since he's got his sophomore and junior film online. He's good, and I can't say it enough. He is athletic. He bends, which you want in your left tackles. He's up there with Tosh Baker. Tosh Baker was a top 100 football player. When you watch him and Tosh play, they look like one and the same more often than not. So under radar football player who has gotten a ton of offers and would be an absolutely awesome pickup for Notre Dame to get in this class, redshirt, groom, watch 2 future NFL draft picks in front of him and Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, and get ready to be a guy in 2024. That's what I see with Elijah Paige. He is athletic as could be.
Yeah, he's huge. I think his On3 profile says he's 6'6.5" and 307.
Yeah.
So
Ashton, let me comment on that real quick. He was 6'5", 281. That's what he's listed at 6 days ago. And
Okay.
I learned that he checked in at 6'6". I was told 3/4. I don't think the On3 database allows for 3/4, so only like 6'6.5". 6'6" and 3/4, so he's almost 6'7" and 300 pounds. I mean, I will look up what Joe Alt is at right now, but I bet it's about the same, about 6'7", 305 pounds, just to give you guys an idea of how big this young man is.
Yeah, that sounds about
right. I mean, just watch. I'm sitting here watching his film as you guys are. It's like, look at his knee bend is elite. Look at him right there. That's what he is not standing up. He's getting low. I mean, he is a damn good football player. His kick step right there. Look at that. That's Division I football ready right now with that stance and the way he kicks. There's a lot of outside zone. Pinnacle runs a ton of outside zone, which Notre Dame loves. And some of these films, he's looking like Liam Eichenberg the way he ran it on the outside zone. So if he comes to Notre Dame now, now you start pinpointing what they're going to do, but bona fide offensive tackle, whether it's left side, right side, they'll figure that stuff out. But he is an offensive tackle, easy. I mean, just look at his length. I'm sorry, I just keep every time I watch him, he gets lower and lower, and his pads are over his toes. It's perfect.
I was going to use your you start talking about what they're going to do. I was going to use that as a segue into what's going to happen with this offensive line class. So they currently have Otting, as we talked about, Sam Pendleton and Sullivan Absher, who are both 4 stars out of North Carolina. There are a few other players on the board, but obviously you can only take so many offensive linemen. So let's opine a little bit about what happens if Paige were to commit. If not, what they're going to do with the other ones on the board, how this offensive line class is going to ultimately shake out. Mike, go ahead. What do you think about it?
So I like Notre Dame to land Elijah Paige. So I think you got 4 right there: Absher, Pendleton, Otting, Paige. I mean, can you see Notre Dame taking 6 offensive linemen? That's a lot of offensive linemen. I personally don't see it. I think Notre Dame will land Charles Jagasaw, top 50 talent from Rock Island, Illinois. And
his official visit is in a few weeks, right?
19th, June 19th. I think it's like a Sunday to Tuesday or something. But hey, when Charles Jagasaw says he's going to officially visit, that's when you bring him in. And then it's Monroe Freeling, and I don't know if Notre Dame's going to get him. So or did they get him and take 6, or does something else happen? I don't know. But it's definitely, you got the 3 commits. Feel really good about Elijah Paige. So it's essentially, at least from my read, it's you got 6 offensive linemen for 5 spots. How it shakes out, I don't know. I don't really care because I think Notre Dame's going to end up with 5 fantastic offensive linemen. And then Tim and I will get to debate what's the best offensive line class between 21, 22, and 23. And that will be a lot of fun.
Yes. Real quick on this. On the 6 offensive line, that's never even been a topic until after Elijah Paige visited, and you've talking about him, and Jagasaw's been favored to Notre Dame since he was 15 years old, I think. I mean, he's just waiting for him to commit. It's he's been on the RPM 98% since day one, so it's like, just commit already, will you, and make this. But Mike's right. If they get those 5, because Elijah Paige is going to skyrocket, you're getting 5 darn good football players. So Monroe Freeling, my biggest thing, and I've said it, is tackles. Just who is going to replace the 2 studs right now? Who is going to replace those guys? Not that they're leaving automatically in 2023, but Freeman is thinking, who is it going to be? So you gotta prepare for at least one of them to be gone. So which goes back to the last couple of years. And my take with a sixth guy is, it comes down to Tosh Baker and Michael Carmody. Do they stick around? I'm not a big fan of, rumor mills saying guys are leaving or whatnot, but it's like Tosh is obviously the third tackle going into this season. So he'll play if something happens and he has to get in there. But does he stick around for 2023 as a senior, or is he going to, can he grad early and leave? Carmody, is he buried on the depth chart, so to speak? I hate to use that term, but is he the third center, the fourth center? Is he going to ship out? So then you go into the 2021 class, which has two NFL guys, and then Caleb Johnson. Is he that wild card that kind of might have to drift away? And then we've talked 2022, which has some great interior football players, I think, when it's all said and done. And Emil Wagner is a wild card. Emil Wagner is a 5-star, if upside, all that stuff. If he pans out, he's a first-round draft choice. So you got to tackle on Wagner down the road. So West with the rest of those guys. So that sixth guy, it's going to be Monroe Freeling, and that's just going to be crazy if that happens.
Oh,
I'm not laughing at you, Tim. Sorry, I'm laughing at this comment.
I don't know. I messed something up on
Where
my.
did it go?
Tom says it's getting close to breathalyzer test for all of you. It's funny.
Okay. All right, Tom. Settle down.
All right, Tom.
All right, Tom. Yes, no, I agree with you, Tim. There again, we don't want to indulge the rumor mill too much, but it does kind of get to a point where, like, if you're a high 5-star offensive lineman, and you're just not going to get playing time because there's so many of them in Notre Dame, you can probably start 95% of other places in the country. Do you go do that? Obviously, knowing now that you can transfer once without any penalty. So definitely should be interesting. Mike, yes.
Yeah, I want to add, a lot of people talking about, you got to get Freeling in if you want in. Absolutely. I just think this situation is going to work itself out. There will be, if Notre Dame takes 6, that would be something. But I personally, unless, something's changed here in the past, 24 hours since I, last heard something on this specific topic of amount of Notre Dame offensive linemen in the 2023 class. But from what I've been told, it's looking like 5. And again, I just think it's going to work itself out. These things typically do. So again, it'll be a darn good quintet offensive line group.
Yeah, and to finish real quick on that, Ashton, if Monroe, who's taking visits coming up, he's got 3 officials. He said he's going to do Clemson in the fall. If they end with Charles Jagasaw, who is an All-American right tackle, and Paige is so vastly underrated, it's comical. All right, in a nice way. They're going to be fine with those 5. Those 5 are going to be damn good football players.
Yeah, don't forget this guy named Sullivan Absher, who Tom Lemming told me has got number 1 overall pick potential. It's pretty impressive.
Exactly. I mean, Absher's my favorite guy on film. Just the pure violence he plays with as a offensive lineman. He is crazy aggressive up front.
Pure violence. That's hilarious.
Ashton's voice is
Thank
better.
You, Brad.
Yeah.
This is my voice. It was funny. I went to the baseball media availability today, and there were some people that hadn't been with me in a while. And I think literally 5 different people were like, "Oh my God, that's your actual voice." Because when I joined the beat, I didn't have a voice. So nobody's actually heard my real voice. But yes, thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. I hope that it stays this way and doesn't give out again. All right, before we move into the big and final topic, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening back via podcast, leave us a review, give us a 5-star rating, all of that jazz. And yeah, we'll get to kind of the big elephant in the room, which is 4-star quarterback CJ Carr is committing tomorrow night. at 7 p.m. He had 6 finalists that he put out: Notre Dame, Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin, LSU, and Georgia. I believe that is correct. He is obviously the grandson of Lloyd Carr, the famed Michigan head coach. His maternal grandfather is Tom Curtis, who was an All-American safety at Michigan. And then his dad played quarterback under Lloyd Carr. His dad's name is Jason, under Lloyd Carr in the 90s. So no, and his mom went to Michigan. So no shortage of Michigan legacy here. He was projected to go there for quite a while, was on campus this weekend, which we'll get into. And that led to several outlets putting in predictions that he would end up committing to Notre Dame. So we'll see what happens there. But for now, Mike, you were obviously on site with me on Sunday. What did you see out of CJ Carr at the Irish Invasion camp?
First, I got to address something. A lot of people are like, why'd you call him a 5 or why'd you call him a 4-star, Ashton? He's a 5-star.
Oh my God.
Drives me crazy.
Yes. I probably got 20 responses to my tweet yesterday. Really? It was like, he's a 5-star. And I was like,
let's just look at this. All right. So on 3 consensus, as a 4-star. 3 of the 4 sites have him ranked as a 4-star. ESPN hasn't even ranked him yet. So let's go. 24/7 is the one that's ranked him as a 5-star. Let's pull up their page. 24/7 has him ranked as the 50th player in the country. How does the composite have him as a 5-star? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Right? I mean, like, if you look at
No, it doesn't really.
It doesn't make sense, because 24/7 recently added on 3 to their composite. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do need, that's a good thing to throw out there, because I got so many, like, you're wrong comments, and I just got tired of responding.
Like, you work for On3, On3, Ashton. You're going to use the On3 ranking. Shocker. Total besides the point.
And if you want to argue that he's a 5-star, go ahead. He very well could end up being one. But for now, he's a 4-star. And you all can relax and stop spamming my Twitter replies.
We can call him he's a 5-star type talent for sure. I mean,
there you go.
Go ahead, Tim.
Potential 5-star CJ Carr. Mike, what did you see from him on Sunday?
Oh no, I was going to say real quick on the with the On3 consensus, they only have 15 5-stars they've officially, or is it 20 that they've announced? I think it's just 20, correct?
We can get our crack staff. Get our crack staff to look this up.
Because they redid it today. I think it's like 19 or something. But it's more than
15. I know
it
DJ's brother's the last 5. One, right?
5 of them.
Just 5?
No. Consensus.
Okay, gotcha. I was curious how it was. I saw they actually on their Twitter account today, they sent out 20 picks and whatnot of all their top guys.
Is that what it is? 24/7? But yeah, that's besides the point. But it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mike, would you like to comment on Sunday, or would you like Tim to go over film?
No. I mean, yeah, we can both do it. This is film I took in Ashton. I think some of your clips are in here of Irish Invasion camp. CJ Carr. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. The kid was born to play quarterback, and I'm pretty sure, like, out the womb, he was like throwing footballs. Like, I mean, the dude is impressive. I talked to Tom Lemming, who is a big fan, or not big fan. Well, maybe he is a big fan, but he's a big friend of Blue and Gold. I've been using Tom as an outlet of information for years, and he compared CJ to Arch Manning. He thinks that they have similar talent, and he thinks that, just their kind of football upbringing, how they have been, basically bred to play quarterback. He thinks their games are fairly similar as well. So I think that's kind of an interesting comparison. And Manning's going to get more of the fanfare because his last name's even bigger than Carr. So I thought that was interesting. But in terms of how we looked at the camp, Ashton, you can chime in on this as well. I mean,
yeah,
I don't want to say it was like a perfect performance, but like I don't know of any flaws, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, and you can see it here, like, his release is just so quick and clean. And, like, that's what I didn't really care where the ball ended up. I was just watching his hand the whole time. And his footwork is perfect. Actually, very good timing. Footwork is perfect. Yeah, I mean, it was abundantly clear, and this is not meant to offend the other quarterbacks there. There were plenty that were very good quarterbacks that could very well play at Power 5 schools, but you could definitely tell that one of them was a step above the rest in Carr. Yeah, I
Hmm.
just it was pretty perfect. And Mike, I know we were kind of split up with the different offensive groups, as you can see in the background there. So like the tight ends are on one side, the running backs are on the other side, in the back down on the other end of the field. This is obviously the quarterback. So we were kind of moving around. And so I didn't get to watch CJ the entire time, obviously, but I actually moved down at one point just because I hadn't really seen a lot of him. And I stood there and essentially like forgot what I was like. I was like, oh, I should probably go watch someone else now, because I was just so immersed in watching this kid throw the football. But yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good. So
Smooth. Smooth was the word to describe it. Smooth, effortless. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just very polished, and I mean that's not a surprise.
he also has like amazing, like you can kind of see it here, like moxie. Like he looks like he knows exactly what he's doing. There's no lack of confidence, but not in like a cocky way at all. It's just, yeah, I'm here. I'm CJ Carr. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So
He was
I don't,
very comfortable.
he didn't look to me. He didn't act like he's a 15, 16-year-old kid going into his junior year, right? He looks pretty primed to play football. He's a little skinnier, a little smaller.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, he's still growing. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's probably about 6'3", 190. I don't know if you guys saw, but for those watching on YouTube, but I included that little overthrow in that highlight reel. That was the only one that I got on film. So that 3 minutes of tape was everything I got of him. That's the only one that I filmed that hit the ground. He might have had others hit the ground that I didn't get on film. That's the only one. So I mean, it was very impressive. Now we gave Jack Larson the MVP of offense on that day because I thought Larson just. I mean, CJ was as good as advertised. Larson, you know, surprised us with just how dominant he was at that camp. But hey, CJ Carr thrown to Jack Larson, could that be in Notre Dame's future? That would be pretty superb. So we did get to talk about Irish Invasion. I'm glad about that, Ashton. So now let's pop on his junior film, and Tim, you can tell us what you see here. Just if he does, again, he's announcing Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If he picks the Fighting Irish, how happy of a camper would you be, Tim?
Extremely happy, because obviously the obvious is number one, they're getting him away from Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. So for all the Notre Dame fanatics out there, that is always a kudos. Anytime Notre Dame pulls a kid out of away from Ann Arbor, especially someone who lives outside of Ann Arbor, is even double kudos. But fascinating what you said there, Mike, about what Tom Lemming said about him and the Manning comparisons, because Manning's obviously a name, but as you and Ashton were talking, you're watching him, and he really looks a lot like Manning does in his body mechanics, the way he throws. You watch so much of Manning's film. He's like the play right there, which CJ just does. Manning loves to step up and throw. CJ does a lot of that in this film. Now that going back and remembering all this stuff, like one right here is perfect. But and even what Ashton said was perfect. Just his mannerisms, the way he is himself, so to speak, out there, meaning he's confident as could be, and great. This is my favorite football play right there. For all the guys that go back and watch his sophomore film, click at the 118 mark. It shows him as an athlete, his footwork, and in watching your film that you posted there, Mike, from the Irish Invasion, I was just watching his feet, and his feet are always set perfect where the ball needs to go. The foot that needs to be set to throw to the right, the left, the out, the slant, whatever it is always in perfect position. And he's a thrill to watch the more you watch this kid, because he's damn good. He's dynamic. I mean, his seam routes, every time I was watching, it's funny you mentioned Larson, because I posted on the message board the other day, Larson reminds me of John Carlson during the Brady Quinn years at tight end, where they just ran seam routes. And I just love Larson as a tight end receiver type threat. And Carter Larson would be like Quinn to John Carlson back in the heyday, and that'd be awesome to see.
Notre Dame fans would definitely take that. I can tell you right now. There's a lot of comments on Cam Williams on the side here. I know we didn't plan to talk about him, but we could touch on him briefly, Mike, if that works. So Cam Williams is a 2024 receiver out of Chicago, and he was at the camp on Sunday. He also was incredibly impressive, very, very quick, very, very soft hands, borderline effortless when making catches. And we wrote this up in an article on blueandgold.com, but he seemed to have a really good relationship with Chancey Stuckey, the wide receivers coach. They were laughing, joking around, kind of like old friends. Oh, perfect. There he is. Kind of like old friends, just looked to be really comfortable and happy at Notre Dame. So on the topic of if we could get Carr to Larson, if you could get Carr to Williams, also would not hate that. So Mike, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, or Tim, I'm sure you've seen Cam Williams before, if you have any thoughts.
So yeah, there's Stuckey coaching him up. I'm actually going to have an article. I'm pulling up my to-do list for tomorrow. I think I'm writing an article on Cam Williams tomorrow morning. No, I am not. But it's going to come soon. And Cam talked about working out with Stuckey, so that'll definitely be an article you'll want to catch. But, you mentioned from this camp, Larson, Williams. Oh, there it is. There's a good clip there for YouTube. Carr, Williams, Larson. What about another Williams, Anais Williams? There's a running back, so there's your skill, players in the 2024 class. Possibly Notre Dame would be fired up about that group of four. So, Cam Williams is a prototypical boundary receiver, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. Tim, are you familiar with Cam?
I'll be honest. I haven't spent we're in 2022, so I
was just curious if you wanted to comment.
No. I've seen a little bit of him. Just watched some of his highlight film and stuff like that, and just he's excellent. I mean, the first guy I think about when you see him is Michael Floyd. The way Floyd just came aboard and dominated, and then with his size and just seeing some of the pics right there in the video remind me of Maurice Stovall when he was, dominating with Brady Quinn during the early, the first couple of Charlie Weiss years and whatnot. So, he was a, USA Today All-American before he came to Notre Dame. So good football players. The 2024 is crazy because you start seeing some of these guys. And I've been talking about on the message board, start compounding classes. And I think that's the thing where 2022 is number 6. 2023 is going to be a high-end group. 2024, you get these guys that you just mentioned, both you just mentioned, especially on the offensive side. They've already got 2 really good defensive linemen that are going to be highly ranked. So you start putting class on top of class on top of class, and next thing you know, Notre Dame is up there playing with, 2 deep, solid along everywhere and playing with the big boys with no questions asked. So it's coming along nicely for Notre Dame.
I don't want to bury the lead in the 53rd minute of the show, but I think 80% of our comments on YouTube live here are about Dante and CJ and are they going to play together and all that stuff. We'll report on that at blueandgold.com. Where do things stand with Dante Moore? That's a big elephant in the room. Everyone and their mother is projecting CJ Carr to pick Notre Dame on Thursday. He's a 2024 quarterback. There's tons of rumors out there about him reclassifying. I'm told he's not. Could he? Sure, it's recruiting. We also didn't think that Notre Dame would land a 2024 quarterback for 2023. This is recruiting. Things can change and be surprising. What it means for 23 is very interesting. Did they take CJ because they're not feeling as good as Dante, or does that have nothing to do with it? Tons of questions, not as many answers. We will get answers and report on these things when appropriate at blueandgold.com. So definitely a good time to sign up for $1 for 1 year premium access. So just wanted to address that pretty quickly. So again, CJ Carr, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, CBS Sports HQ on Thursday. Expecting Notre Dame. But again, his last name is also Carr. So we'll see. But what it means for Dante is, again, TBD.
Yeah, and that is a good way to wrap this up. Thank you all for joining us. Mike just gave you all the details for tomorrow. Make sure that you check out. Yeah, it is. Man. Today's Wednesday.
Okay.
Mike's having a hard time because he was in South Bend all weekend. Then he flew out on a Monday, so he thinks it's Friday right now. It's a whole thing. But yes, on that topic, make sure before you hop off here that you hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you are listening back via podcast, leave us a review, and that $1 deal is still going. So make sure you head to our site, sign up for that. That will not be around forever. But other than that, we appreciate you guys joining, and we will be back next week.